Metroidvania podcast. This is Cauldrath from the Metroidvania subreddit and Discord.
Hi, this is Master. I'm also from there.
Hi, I'm Atcero, and I'm also from there.
Today, we will be playing Katamari Damacy Reroll. It's a game about rolling around a ball, and things stick to the ball that becomes a bigger ball. Because you see, today's conversation is about power creep, and it's totally the same thing as rolling around the ball.
Well, you get more powerful as you get a bigger ball, right?
Yes, you could say that your power snowballs.
Boo.
So is this a remake of the first game?
Yeah. Just like, technical remake, I suppose. More of a good port than...
That man is packing.
Yeah. It's a shame my audio isn't working, and Atcero's playing music on a YouTube playlist.
More like just a single song.
Yeah. The intro is really something... You really have to hear the music to fully get the effect. If you haven't seen this game before, I encourage you to look up the intro. Maybe the cutscenes.
Yeah, it seems like somebody was high when they made this.
It's a pretty Japanese feeling game. Gotta agree to all the things I definitely read.
You didn't even scroll down.
Who does? Let's be real.
Oh yeah. Also, it has some bad English translations.
That's part of the appeal, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, this is intentional in this game, I'm pretty sure.
As you can see, the control scheme is interesting.
Isn't it tank controls?
No. You have to push both sticks in the same direction to,
Oh yeah, it's
move
not
in
quite
that
tank
direction.
controls. This reminds me... Oh no, these are the controls in, stupid, Ape Escape 3. They had controls like this for the power armor.
Interesting. Yeah, so to turn, you have to push one stick forward and one stick backward.
Yeah, that's kind of tank control.
Yeah.
It's like half-half tank control.
I'm pretty sure I've played a game with a tank that has controls like that. I couldn't tell you which one.
Alright, so power creeping, since that's a banned word on Twitch, apparently.
That is unfortunate.
Don't creep on the power.
Don't creep on the power. That was so anime.
Yeah. The plot of this game is this dude gets bored and he destroys all the stars, and you have to roll up new stars to put into the sky with the random things you steal from people's houses. And eventually the people themselves as you get larger.
It sounds like it's an apocalypse simulator.
Kind of.
God, he even talks in the Royal Third.
What is that?
It's a thing, I believe, in old school English where you talk in the third person, but it was, I believe, used for royals mainly only. And that's why I call it the Royal Third. I think that's what it is. Also, look at the sway this guy has. Look at how he's standing. Sassy.
He's no evil Richter.
Nah, he should be. Everyone should be evil Richter. So yeah, power creeping. In Metroidvanias. Even though this is not in Metroidvania, obviously.
First, we must define what is power creep.
Power creep is usually for like a live service game where they introduce new like characters or like gear or whatever that invalidates old ones.
Oh, really? I take it more as like, okay, you're getting more powerful. How does the game rise to that? It kind of goes, for me at least, hand in hand with the difficulty curve.
I think so. It's used in different ways in those two contexts.
Yeah.
We're primarily concerned with how it relates to Metroidvanias, which would be just difficulty creep. But we're we can talk about every definition of it. I know Cauldrath and I both have some experience with the MMO type of power creep because Cauldrath plays a lot of Warframe and I play a bit of Path of Exile.
Excuse me, I'm over here playing ESO.
How much do you play ESO?
I mean, I have a lot of hours in it. I'm only level 530 or 512 champion right now, but still pretty high.
Most games have to be really high.
Yeah, well,
like
the cap
90
used to
top.
be 800. Now the cap is, I believe, like 1,800. They raised it.
Okay.
I see.
So that raising the level cap is a form of power creep.
Yeah.
See, Path of Exile's power creep is interesting because every few months the game does a wipe. So it does invalidate previous content, but it's not the situation where someone who you're not comparing the new gear to a player who used to play and still has the old gear, because everyone starts regrinding for the new gear at the same time. That makes sense.
Yeah. So does the new gear invalidate the old gear ever?
Well, sometimes. Path of Exile introduces new ways to improve in power usually, and they still coexist with the previous items. So really, a lot of the power creep, you're still using the old powerful items, but you're just using additional newer powerful items as well.
Okay, yeah. Power creep usually doesn't wind up being problematic unless it's starting to invalidate old gear. Like in Warframe, they'll have like prime weapons, and they'll invalidate the non-prime versions of them because they're just more powerful versions.
Yeah, but if it's only a small improvement, is it really that much of power creep?
Well, it's still power creep. It's still invalidating your old things.
Well,
Yeah.
what do you mean by invalidating?
Making them useless.
Yeah, like there's no real reason to equip the old gear. Like there are Riven mods that are more effective if you put them on the worst weapon, but it usually doesn't make up for the other stat difference.
It's kind of like Castlevania. Once you get, the Chrysogrim, it invalidates almost every other weapon, unless you want that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But why would you when... I mean, actually, I shouldn't even say the Chrysogrim, but the Shield Rod and Alucard Shield. Best pairing.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases in Castlevania and games like that where you've already gotten gear and it's already invalidated something that you pick up later, which makes it so that it feels really bad to get that new gear. Like you just wasted your time.
I mean...
Yeah, that's the problem, just having that kind of equipment system in a Metroidvania, because you're not necessarily going to be exploring the same things that another person is exploring, in the same order, unless it's a very linear game. So if you're balancing equipment around, the way Castlevania has stat points, and you want to reward a player with that exploration, it's harder to do that with equipment
The only
without
reward...
just finding useless things.
only reward you should need is that beautiful, beautiful percentage of your map completion.
At 999.99%.
Oh, that still pisses me off. And you even said yourself our maps look the same. So what am I missing? Why did my game glitch?
Your first mistake was playing that game.
I actually like Portrait of Ruin, okay? It's not my favorite DSvania, but it's still a good Castlevania game.
Oh, that's what I should do. I should play Order of Ecclesia soon.
Yes, you should. 100%.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that think that's the best of them.
It's tied with me just because it plays differently. Since it's a Crest-like and not a Metroidvania, it's tied for me in terms of the DSvanias with Dawn of Sorrow.
It's probably the best balanced of them.
Yeah.
Like the difficulty curve and not getting stupidly
difficulty
easy.
Curve? Who, you mean harder than the rest of the Castlevanias and it makes you suffer for it?
Funny thing is, like, I've actually died on early game bosses in some of the Castlevania games, but then, like, the later bosses are no challenge whatsoever.
Yeah, I think because at that point, you kind of become familiar with the game. That and Castlevania is terrible with its difficulty curve in late game.
Yeah.
Unless, you know, you want to fuck around with Dracula and just not use all the glyphs. Spoilers. Actually, no, it tells you. It tells you in-game. Like,
something you have to consider. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good.
With power creep is that also you have to consider how when the player gets better at the game and you want to present more challenges to them, but they're also getting stronger through their character and getting upgrades. And that's the challenge of having the right level of difficulty.
Like, I think Hollow Knight did that pretty good. Because then Hollow Knight also introduced more content afterwards, you know, like God Home and stuff like that, the Pantheon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you've reached the point where you're no longer progressing, so they can tailor make the game to the top end.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, depends on how you get stronger in the game, because
yeah, that's true.
Like in Hollow Knight, you know, you get more charms and stuff, you get more masks. You're still gonna take 1 point of damage from getting hit, generally, and you only have a certain amount of health. You still get punished the same or similar. It's not like Castlevania where now you one-shot everything and the enemies do 1 damage out of 1,000 health to you, and you can just ignore them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like your rate of healing doesn't increase in Hollow Knight, so your rate of taking damage doesn't ever actually increase. Well, actually, was there a charm that increased the amount you heal by?
I think there was one, but it's been a long time, so I don't remember.
I think it was like it also slows down how long it takes you to heal, so you'd have to like use almost all of your charm slots to like use that, and then use the faster healing one to make up for it.
Yeah.
It's probably just not worth it.
No, because I mean, if you think about it, yeah, Castlevania, you can level up, and pretty much, even if your weapon's trash, you can still, you know, destroy things. But in Metroid and Hollow Knight, you can't do that. Just for the sole fact that you don't have that option to power creep in that way. You don't have a way to essentially ignore the difficulty curve with levels and RPG-like elements.
In Metroid games, though, you can somewhat ignore taking damage once you have enough energy tanks, but the thing that they do is that enemies will just do a lot more damage suddenly, getting into
late game
newer areas, or if they add more enemies to earlier areas.
Yeah, Dread made it do a lot of damage.
Yeah, no, I died on some of those bosses in like 4 hits, and it's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Fusion had pretty high damaging
on some of the bosses.
stuff as well. I'm not sure how much you could actually tank even later in the game.
I don't remember, cause I'm a tanky player. I like to tank things, as we've seen.
You like to dash your face into things.
I do. I mean, you've seen it on all the bosses I've fought in every game. I do it every time.
Yep.
I don't remember. I think I couldn't tank a few of those bosses. Like a certain, the scariest boss in Fusion. I believe that one I couldn't do it. Also, Cat McGee said before, you fight Vampire in Castlevania. Oh. And I know this isn't a Metroidvania, but Sekiro was in an interesting case for From Software because the main weapon couldn't be upgraded. But instead you upgraded your health, extra equipment, and techniques, but your main attack stayed the same.
That's true.
Well, that's because your main attack didn't matter at all.
Oh, dang. I didn't play Sekiro. I'm not a huge From Software fan. Until, Elden Ring comes along and changes my mind, but...
Yeah, it was pretty much just you parry until you reduce their posture bar to 0, and then you hit the attack button once and it executes them, and that takes off one of their lives, and you do that until they're out of lives.
Okay.
I played a bit of Sekiro. I didn't finish it, but I got into it. I fight a lot of bosses. I'm not sure how much power creep you could say that game has.
Sekiro, yeah, pretty much just your health is the only thing that matters that much.
I mean, if you fight, like imagine fighting a moderately difficult boss early in the game versus several hours into the game. There's not really a difference there.
Oh, and Kat also said, also a case where the final boss is the hardest boss in the game, which is not the case in most From Software games. Because, yeah, usually aren't there, like, hidden bosses that are, like, 10 times harder?
So there was apparently a hidden boss that I never fought that is optional that, like Coach was saying that he took a long time to beat him. Which I think is theoretically supposed to be harder than the final boss.
Okay.
It's actually missable, though. So, like, you have to, like, go through the game in a specific way to fight it.
Oh, so it's not a Galamoth where you can just ignore him and be like, I don't want to fight you.
Well, you can accidentally not have to fight him.
Yeah, Shield Rod and Alucard's sword. Instant win.
Something that's often disappointing is when the late game, the final boss of a game is not difficult, or it just feels really unfinished. Like a lot of Castlevania games.
Rude. Dracula is never really supposed to be the hard guy. Well, in the Igavanias, minus, I will say, or no, it's not an Igavania, so it doesn't matter. But in Circle of Moon, he was, I believe, the hardest boss in the game. If I remember correctly.
He was pretty hard in that game.
He was bad. I would say he was actually pretty difficult in Order of Ecclesia. But at the same time, I don't think he's that hard for most people nowadays if you're a Castlevania player, because, I mean, he does the same attacks.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, like, Dawn and... Well,
hey, Dawn wasn't technically... Okay, I mean,
I'm not talking about Dracula, I'm talking about Castlevania final bosses.
Yeah, Dawn, yeah, he was... I mean, when I first played it, he was difficult for me, but I was also a child.
I'm not talking about them being difficult either, I'm just talking about them being bad and not thought out.
What? I thought he was a fine boss.
Or, I don't even remember which one was which, with Portrait and Dawn.
For Dawn, spoilers for Castlevania, Dawn of Sorrow and Portrait of Ruin, you nerds, so if you're watching this, click ahead like 2 minutes or something. So for Dawn, it was Menace. It was, Dimitri, it was the big bad monster with the face you had to destroy, the knee you had to destroy, and then the chest you had to destroy.
Oh yeah, that sucked.
I liked Menace. I thought it was a cool boss.
That was the one with the ads that if you didn't have like a good weapon, they would just take 5 hits to kill, and it was really
Oh yeah,
tedious.
yep, it was. Yep, it was that one. But me always being the Chad with the axe never bothered me.
Yeah, it's not fun to hit ads that are flying at you at a constant speed. You have to hit them a lot of times to kill them,
Yeah, that's fair.
because you have to back up without getting hit.
Yeah. And then Portrait of Ruin was the one where Dracula and Death teamed up. They did the duo.
Maybe I didn't hate that one.
Because I thought that was actually a cool twist, finally, on the tired old Dracula battle.
Yeah, that's a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah. But no, Oh, you can go.
Yeah, a lot of these kind of just ran together for me. Like, I don't remember which bosses are in which game.
I can list you every boss from every like.
That probably wouldn't help any.
I will say the final boss of Satan I thought was pretty weak. I did think he was a weak boss.
So do you think that it's intended that these are easy bosses, or just like they didn't account for how much the character progresses, like how much they've leveled up before they reached that boss?
To be honest, I'm not sure, because for Bloodstained spoilers, I thought Bale was actually a pretty decent fight. So I don't know if it was just Iga didn't know how players would take it and then he finally learned, or if he just thought, final bosses shouldn't be the most difficult thing like they were in the past Castlevanias. I'm not entirely sure.
How do you feel about final bosses being the hardest boss in the game? Maybe excluding a secret boss.
In my opinion, that's how it should be.
Yeah, same.
I agree.
It's the final boss. It is the culmination of all the skills, all the weapons, all the advancements, everything that you've learned and you've maybe come to perfect in the game, and it's you finally putting it to use all together and taking down the big bad in a badass awesome fight, in my opinion.
Yeah. I remember I watched someone who wasn't particularly skilled at platformers play through Zero Mission recently, and they did fine throughout the game, but they got to the final boss in that game and it was just like a brick wall.
Really? I thought he was a really easy fight too if you had enough super missiles, not super missiles.
I'm not talking about. Sorry, I'm talking about Mother Brain.
Oh, you are talking about Mother Brain. Even Mother Brain, though, if you had enough missiles, you were fine.
Yeah, but the problem is you're constantly getting hit and knocked off the 2 tiny platforms you have if you're not proactive about freezing them.
I tank. I literally just take the hit and move on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a very smart gamer when it comes to bosses and managing my health.
If you have enough energy tanks to do that, then there's no reason not to.
Exactly. That's my thought. In Metroid, it's like, if I can tank a boss, I'm gonna tank a boss. Yeah. With all my energy tanks.
What you'd be tanking in that boss, though, would be the lava, because...
Yeah, it is.
That's what you're getting knocked into, and that's what's doing most of the damage.
Oh, yeah.
That just made me think, there's not a lot of platforming challenges like that in the game, so suddenly having that situation to deal with,
that's true.
Well,
at the culmination could be frustrating.
Did they 100% the game? Because
no.
Yeah, that's apparently people have more trouble 100%ing Zero Mission than like any other Metroid, from what I've heard.
Really?
I've heard it has ridiculous Shine Spark segments where you have to do a bunch of platforming while keeping a Shine Spark charge in order to get to a place and Shine Spark up and hit a specific block.
Yeah, and then like Dread has some like difficult shine spark things, but it has a lot longer timer where you can keep the shine spark, so it's a lot more forgiving.
I've only been able to shine spark like once or twice in Super Metroid, and it's the super easy ones. Dread, I was actually able to properly shine spark in a few places. I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like to be a speedrunner. I will say stuff like shine sparking, in my opinion, I don't feel like it should be required for a final boss for something like that. Which, usually Metroid it never is, thank God. Oh no, not the cat.
One of us.
No, not the cat. That makes me sad. Look at how terrified it is! No! Look at that poor thing! Look at that!
That would be a good thumbnail. If I can get a better angle of it. There's something else is kind of in the way.
Oh no!
It has a hat on its butt.
Monka S. Poor Cat McGee. But yeah. Oh no, you got up Elizabeth! Poor Elizabeth!
You just consume everything in your path in this game. It's fantastic.
Hate it. I hate the cat. Don't get
So
the
much
cat.
fun.
Don't you dare. No! I'm in pain right now. I don't care about the birds, but the cats.
Yeah, so my thought was, you have different types of challenges in games, and if you don't properly distribute, if you don't let people practice certain skill sets required for different types of challenges, they may struggle a lot more than necessary.
That's true, and that creates a difficulty spike.
Yeah.
Which is a bad part of a difficulty.
Well, would you say that that's a common way that difficulty spikes happen, or would you say that it would be the same general skills, just maybe, if it was Castlevania, everything just does a ton of damage and you'd have to grind to overcome the...
You mean Castlevania 1 and 3? That's what they mean.
I mean like hitting a wall and then having to grind out items or something, XP, in order to get over it.
I wouldn't even consider that... I don't know. Okay. So for Metroid, I do believe that if you don't introduce, like, a certain skill in a game, and then you throw it in at the final boss, which I've played a few games like that, I consider that an unfair difficulty spike. Because there can be fair difficulty spikes, but there can also be unfair ones, and I believe that's an unfair one because the game does not prep you in a way to handle the challenges that it wants to throw at you for a boss. And if it doesn't prep you for that, well then how the hell are you supposed to learn other than dying to the boss a bunch of times, and that's not fun.
Yeah, there's some games that the final boss, they just like take away all of your character abilities and give you new ones. And that's probably the most annoying one because it invalidates all of the progression that you've made, introduces new mechanics. It's just like all the things combined that you don't want.
Actually, I feel like the Messenger did it fine because they had a final fight where you used all your skills and then they just had a little fun thing at the end.
Yeah, like if it's not difficult at all and it's just like power fantasy, like this is your super mode. It doesn't use any of the abilities that you already had, but you're now more powerful than you were before, and then you get to just stomp all over everything.
Majora's Mask be like.
That sounds annoying.
That was literally Majora's Mask, and that's probably the reason I'll never... If I do ever replay it again, I will not get all the masks. Because once you get all the masks, you can just... You sit on Majora, and you pretty much just say, fuck you, and you crush them. You destroy them. In 5 hits. It's a pathetic boss fight.
You can actually take that mask back and fight all, like, the other 4 bosses with it, too.
Oh, that would be fun! Just crushing all those assholes. Ah, lovely. Love it.
Including the one where you're supposed to be fighting as a giant.
Oh, I loved that fight. That fight was cool. That fight was really cool, actually. I don't like many things about Majora's Mask, but that one was one of the things.
I've never played Majora's Mask.
I recommend it.
Why don't you like it?
Kinda? I'm not a fan of time mechanics. I hate time mechanics in games. I do not like to be timed. Like, if for a game like this, it doesn't matter because it's time-based levels where you're giving plenty of time.
Also, you're stuck in a level until time runs out.
Exactly. But, like, in a game, like, even Luigi's Mansion, the original game was gonna be made, so you were timed. And I'm like, nah. I like to take my time. Thankfully, Majora's Mask, once you find the correct song, it's fine. I never went over 3 days. Like, I had plenty of time to beat everything, but it's still just like, ugh. And the save mechanics were dumb. Like, you could only save once you went back in time. You could never save in the level. It was just terrible. You could only quick save. But I was playing on the GameCube version that was also prone to crashing. So, I had to leave my GameCube running while I went to work.
That is unfortunate.
That is it sucked. Cancel Addy? How dare you cancel me? You can't cancel this. Do fine. Who else will suffer for La Milana content?
Not Master.
But back to my thought with Castlevania. Castlevania, or like RPGs in general, where you can just power grind out of those difficulty spikes. For the most part, you're always going to be usually over-leveled. I mean, for me at least, I'm almost always over-leveled for those fights. Or at least almost always have enough stuff. I will say there are certain fights, like, let's say Order of Ecclesia. We're gonna talk about Blackwell, I think? Shadow Demon guy. He was a difficulty spike in the regards to you need a light element if you want to have a decent time fighting him. If you don't have a light element spell, you're kind of fucked. So I would consider that, I mean, the game kind of points you at it though. I mean, if you kind of just look at him and assume, okay, he's a shadow, I should probably get a light element for this. And I think at that time you're already given Lux, so you're usually pretty good. But I would kind of consider that to a degree with Castlevania games and elemental typings when they introduced that in, I believe, Dawn of Sorrow? I can see those being more difficulty spikes. And
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of elemental typings in that because it's like it's very binary. Like if you know what it is, then it becomes too easy, and if you don't, like if there's like hints of what it is, then it can make sense. Like you could do La Milana style hints.
I'm not a fan of things just having one big weakness, and you just do it and it makes something trivial.
Yeah, like Bon Appetit. The bosses are nearly impossible to beat fair, but they're extremely easy to cheese, and it made them like really unsatisfying to beat.
That sounds bad.
See, and that's the opposite of a difficult spike, and that's also bad. We don't want that in games either, because then it's boring. I say this as I replay Symphony of the Night for the 7th.
Well, what does the ideal difficulty graph look like? And before you answer that, I would like to propose, how about instead of having just one difficulty line, we have multiple overlapping graphs for different skills that the game requires.
Is this Dark Souls needs an easy mode again?
Ooh.
What?
What?
Is this you saying Dark Souls needs an easy mode?
La Milana is not a game, it's a masochist machine, yeah, pretty much. Oh god.
But for most games I would say that having different difficulty curves is optimal. Like, people have different levels of frustration they want to deal with.
Okay. That's not quite what I meant when I said that. What I meant was that any particular game already has different skills that they require of you, and that instead of saying that a game's difficulty is just, easy or hard, we should really differentiate in what way is it hard.
So you're meaning like, okay, is the platforming too hard? That's one line on the graph. Another line for enemies, another line for leveling up, or another one for problem-solving skills, let's say. and then another one for getting abilities, stuff like that. You mean?
Yeah, something generally like that. Though I do think it's worth talking about having like when I think of customizable difficulty, and kind of what Cauldrath was saying, I think of like the assists that different games have to make a game easier in a particular way, and that's a good way to make a game easier for people who want it to be. Like Barbarian has assists.
Another thing you can do is take advantage of the non-linearity of Metroidvanias. So you could have like you reach a certain point in the game, and then you have 3 different areas you can go to. One of them's a platforming challenge, one of them's a combat challenge, and one of them's a puzzle challenge. You beat one of the areas, and then it gives you a power-up that makes the other ones easier.
Yeah.
And so, you can do whatever one, like, you can play the one that you're best at on the hardest difficulty, basically, and then follow up with the other ones now that they're easier.
I think that is interesting.
Yeah. Jokes on you, as if I wouldn't want to play all on the hardest difficulty.
I would want to do that.
Problem with that setup.
Yeah. I do like ones that allow you to turn off things, though. So.
But would you?
Yes, probably, maybe. Depends on how much money I was given.
I think the problem is just that in some games, by progressing, you become too powerful for content you may not have done earlier in the game. And that's not the case for every game or every Metroidvania.
Wait.
Because you get powerful in different ways.
You have a No, don't. What are you doing? Are you going after the people now?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm large enough to.
Oh my god! What the fuck? Not the cat! Not the cat! No! No! This game really, it's a very violent game. I mean, you're taking cats and people, and you're freaking turning them into stars. You're killing them.
Like, if you create a star, they're all gonna be dead anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even if they aren't in the ball, if they're close enough to the ball, they're gonna get sucked into the star.
Ah, Jesus, their apartment house. Kind King, Addy, have you not played this? I've played a little bit of Katamari, but I was at the first level or second level. I didn't fucking do this. I wasn't a sadist and sucked up people.
The ball must grow.
No!
As your power must grow in Metroidvania.
As your power must... See, the ball's an allegory for power in Metroidvanias. And how the progression should be.
Well, I don't know about that.
By sucking up people?
I like progression that doesn't necessarily trivialize content.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest problems that, like, the inverse difficulty curves happen is that you gain power, like, unintentionally.
Like,
especially in, like, Castlevania games where you're just like, I'm just trying to explore, I'm killing the enemies that I run into, and now I've leveled up 5 times, and now the next boss is going to be super easy.
Yeah. Or if you stumble across that wall in Symphony of the Night and you get the jewel knuckles and mirror your ass early.
The problem is when having more power decreases your ability to have skillful and fun gameplay. And that's what, just doing more damage or whatever. If you do too much damage, that's kind of what happens. But if you improve power in some other way, like giving someone more
luck,
more utility, more options in a scenario.
So maybe instead of increasing your just your raw numbers as you level up, it increases the complexity of the systems you have access to.
Yeah, exactly.
Which could increase your theoretical damage cap. But
this sounds like skill trees with extra steps.
What?
Yeah. Skill trees usually have like raw numbers up in
Yeah.
them. But if it like adds new mechanics, then it can increase complexity that way and make it more challenging to hit the theoretical damage cap.
Mm-hmm. I hate these people too, by the way. I hate their design so much.
Oh, I love them. They're my
hate their
favorite.
design.
So you hate them, but you're still mad when he rolls them up in a bubble.
Yes, because just because I hate how they look doesn't mean I don't value their life. Gosh. Gosh.
Like Kind King 01 says, I just want to get OP as fuck. That is a lot of the appeal of Metroidvanias, is that they fulfill a power fantasy.
It is.
Well, oh, no, we're not doing this. Are we gonna talk about, Samus and the power fantasy?
Oh my god. I forgot about that.
You forgot? How could you forget? He's one of the people I've gotten kicked. Oh, yeah!
That's not a power fantasy, that's a disempowerment fantasy.
No, it was a power fantasy for him, and apparently women want that? No, sorry. Women don't play it. Only guys do for it. That's right, I'm sorry.
I forgot they were even in the Discord at some point. I just remember...
I don't know, didn't they leave? Because they were kicked, and then they came back. I don't know if they ever spoke again, though.
I don't think they ever spoke again.
But they did post on the subreddit.
If you're listening, if you're the author of Mommy Dami Samus, reach out to us.
Don't reach out to me! I have you blocked, and I will report you again. I have no problem with that.
I don't remember their name. I can check to see if they're still in the Discord.
Oh, I could find it. Oh god, that made... the icing on the cake was the DM. I was dropping it, and then they DM'd me, and I'm like, oof.
Okay, anyway.
They're still in the Discord.
Back on topic with real power fantasies for people, and not who they want to crush them under their thick thighs.
Metroid has a lot of power creep too, though, in a different way than Castlevania. Metroid, it's usually like, oh, I'm in the end game and I can screw attack every normal enemy now. And I also have 10 energy tanks. And I can kind of just tank stuff.
Yeah.
Without worrying about it.
To be fair, after you've completed an area, sometimes they do introduce more difficult enemies. But yeah, once you get the screw attack and space jump, your game's done. Go fight the final boss. You're set.
Yeah, Zero Mission made a pretty big deal of they just immediately gave you all the most powerful stuff, and then it's like, go wreck all this stuff that was wrecking you just a second ago.
It's fun though. I gotta be honest. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Crushing thighs. Get out of here. She's not your type, and then you do that. Get out. Out. Banned. You don't need Horny here. Horny stays on personal Twitches and the Discord.
We were just talking about the king in this game and Richter before.
That's okay, we didn't make any direct comment. I just said, everyone should be evil Richter. That's all I said. Nothing else. What are those? Okeshi doll.
Well, wait, what were they holding? I didn't see the name.
They're hands for Takoyami, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of objects, and I guess they all have witty encyclopedia entries that I didn't get around to reading.
Oh.
So this game has
and
lore.
There's so many objects. There's
lore.
1,000 objects in this game.
This is a Souls-like.
Souls-like. It has lore. It is a Souls-like.
This is true.
And there's a power creep. Souls-like.
Oh, now you got the birds.
Oh, okay. I mean, they're pigeons. Oh, that's fine. Ooh, yeah, get those handcuffs.
Going back to the...
yeah, I'm being a degenerate again. Alright, that's for after stream.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway.
Okay, we haven't talked about Hollow Knight yet, though, either, really. And God knows we have to talk about Hollow Knight, otherwise it's a sin against the community, and, we'll be downvoted and doxxed and all this shit.
We did talk about
We mentioned it.
We mentioned it, but we should talk about it. Deep lore.
Well, how much power creep does Hollow Knight have? I mean, you get masks, you get charms, you get the nail
Upgrades.
damage
Nail
upgrade,
upgrades are
which
the-
is the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think for base game, it's pretty good. I mean, this is coming from the person who got tired of trying to beat Radiance spoilers, final boss, and I'm like, I'm done. I got close enough. Because it was, in a way, too difficult for me. I mean, yeah, I could beat it, but I'm also way too lazy to spend time on the difficulty spike that it does introduce. Not saying that it doesn't prepare you for it. It does, 100%. I'm just lazy. Well,
Yeah,
I
Hollow
would...
Knight doesn't really let you outlevel the late game content.
No. It keeps you neck and neck the whole game.
How do you feel about the platforming area in Hollow Knight?
Path of Pain?
I was just gonna say the palace, but yeah.
Oh. Palace, well, I did part of the Path of Pain. Because Path of Pain, you have to go through without getting hit once, right? And there's no breaks.
What?
No,
No.
you can get hit.
There's pretty frequent checkpoints.
Are
in the
there
Path of
checkpoints?
Pain.
Okay, then I did half of the Path of Pain. Because I was switching off with my roommate when we were doing it. And I wasn't sure if that was regular Path of Pain. But then... It was kind of difficult for me. I'm just also very impulsive, and I get impatient. So I tend to rush a lot of platformings.
I mean, there weren't like benches or anything, but there were like infinitely replenishing statues.
What I meant is when you hit the spike walls, you get transported back usually.
Yeah,
To wherever
like,
you landed last, yeah.
Yeah.
You
last
couldn't get quote-unquote hit. Because everything you got hit by would send you back.
Mhm.
Hollow Knight is the perfect game, lazy AF. Get out of here.
You can still get hit by stuff and recover.
Yes, but not like,
Not spikes, but
yeah,
you know.
not the built-in spikes. You could get hit by the spikes that would come up and down, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. It has been 2.5-ish years since I played
That
Hollow
woman
Knight.
just kicked me.
Well, you're literally trying to devour her. You deserve to be
Yeah,
kicked.
The man's drilling a cake.
I was gonna say, is that man actually drilling a cake? What is this game?
He took his shake. Now he's not drilling anything.
Oh, you took the person's... Is that a child?
I don't have any children yet, do I?
Okay. Is that a baby?
yet.
No, it was a
Fish.
ball. It was Kokeshi doll, I think. Oh god. Haha, you got a hoe. Hi. He's gonna...
But yeah,
You'd like
one
a
of the-
noise to play when the cat appears.
Try and get
Like
one for
that.
my streams.
Yeah.
The Metal Gear Solid alert sound.
Yes. Okay.
But no, it's the alert sound, but it's like vocoded to be a cat meow or something.
I would have to pay someone to do that.
Hey, I'll figure it out.
If you figure it out, I will 100% use it. I just like the destroy the child, corrupt them all.
You just said you didn't like it when I rolled up children, and now here
No,
you are
but I
trying
love
to
that.
destroy
I
them.
just-
She wants
Just
she
because you
wants you
said
to
that, I'm
destroy
rolling
them.
up.
Yeah, I
That
want
one
you
was
to
mean.
destroy them, not roll them up and like let them suffer. If you destroy them right away, then it's fine. Obviously. Oh yeah, get those carrots. I didn't know you were playing Cuphead.
Speaking of difficulty, Cuphead's pretty.
Oh
Difficult.
god, Cuphead. I still haven't gotten past King Dice. I played the game through twice, and I've just gave up at King Dice twice. That is
Last time
not
I
a
played
joke.
was when I streamed it. However far I got there.
I
don't really-
Oh,
You do have some. There's almost like a false sense of getting stronger because you can get the alternate weapons and stuff,
Yeah.
I suppose. But do those really help that much?
it depends on your playstyle. I think they're not really made for doing more damage or allowing you to become more powerful. It mainly is just what do you prefer to play with and what do you think works best for this boss. So I was a nerd who liked to use the boomerang, the one that would go behind you. I would use that all the time. I use that on, like, all the bosses. Also, I will say there is kind of a weird difficulty curve and spike with Cuphead. Like, some of the bosses in the early, like, the second island, Grim Matchstick, the dragon, he's considered one of the hardest bosses in the games. And he's in the second island. He's not even the third. While some of the third island bosses are easier than some of the second island ones. It kind of had a weird spike and curve to it. But that could have also been the devs being like, oh yeah, this boss is really easy for us, but then being harder for the majority of people and they not realizing it.
Perhaps all the dodging and jumping and shooting
Exactly.
in the dragon was a different skill that the game hadn't taught you yet. That the devs assumed that you learned when in fact you had not.
No, you learned it. It's just, oh, he's a bitch. He's a bitch. Just the third phase of him, with the bubbles and the fire coming at you. Like, you learn it quick. I mean, most of your learning, I would say, is when you play the bosses. You are not meant to beat those bosses on the first, second, or even, I would say, third try for the most part. You are supposed to lose to learn. So that's kind of how I see Cuphead, how it forces you to get over its difficulty spikes and humps. Oh,
See,
why
some
the fuck is
people-
that bird carrying a cat?
Some people find that really frustrating and unfair, and that
And they do.
they think they can. They think that you can. You should not have to die in order to learn the game.
And in my opinion, that's bullshit. In games, death is a way, and probably one of the most important ways for you to learn. If you don't like it, and if they don't offer an easy mode, then I'm sorry, just don't play it. I am one of those people. If they don't offer an easy mode, even though I do believe games should, but if they don't, I mean, that's the dev's choice. But I'm also, yeah, death is very much a way to learn. I died many times when I was a kid in games, and that's how I learned. That's how I got better. I died a lot, probably 10 to 20 times to most deaths in Castlevania. Like, Death the boss, because I was a kid. I didn't know how to play it very well, but I learned through the death. I learned, okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can get better through this.
Maybe the reason people complain about dying in games is because they think that the game is wasting their time with some BS, and now they're not a child and they're a busy adult. They don't want to waste their time in their video games.
And that's fair, but if you view it, in my opinion, if you view death as just a waste of time, then I kind of feel like you might feel like the game itself, if it's not going exactly your way, is a waste of time.
Well, there's different degrees of failure. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
you don't have to kill the player and then make them start all over again for
Yes.
them to have a setback.
I
Like,
like
setbacks
how
are important,
yes.
but they don't have to be complete binary dead, not dead setbacks.
No. Well, and that's why I like Hollow Knight or even Shovel Knight with the checkpoints. There's a penalty, your money, and if you don't care about that money, you don't have to try and go risk your life to get it back. You could just try again at the level.
True, but losing that money can be very punishing.
It can be.
If
Oh,
you
definitely.
have a lot of it and you need it, you think.
Yeah,
But-
the other thing is when you, like with the money lost on death stuff, you're penalizing the player for failure in a way that lowers their power and will lead to future failures. So like in Hollow Knight, a lot of people would like lose all their Geo and then they wouldn't be able to afford upgrades.
Why
And
don't
so
you
they-
just give it to the banker? Ha ha ha.
I don't know why people lose a lot of Geo in that game. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's not that hard. Just give it to the banker, guys, obviously.
I give all my Geo to the banker. They take good care of it.
Always take good care of it. But no, you are right. And the same was in Shovel Knight, too. You couldn't buy the upgrades if you didn't have enough money.
But what upgrades are you actually buying? Besides maybe like the lantern, what do you actually
notches,
need to buy?
charm notches, and then there's like some.
Map markers.
There was like a mask piece too, I think.
I think you're right.
I mean, you do pay for like tolls and stuff with Geo, but you should be able to find those in the
Yeah.
area you're exploring. That's kind of how that's designed, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't think, honestly, all things considered, I do not think Hollow Knight is that punishing with its deaths.
The problem is that it gets more punishing the longer you go without dying.
Yes.
But also, we're talking about dying twice here, not just dying once.
Yeah.
Well, there is the risk reward of
Mhm.
like not going in and cashing in, which is like a nice thing to have in the game.
Joke's on you. I always spend all my cash as soon as I get it.
I mean, if the only thing you can buy is expensive and you're trying to save up money, then you can't really cash it in anywhere.
Yeah.
The cats make meow noises when you pick them up.
Well,
so
I
you
like
should
how
know.
there's a bunny man walking around. Yeah, like Castlevania doesn't really punish you because save points. Metroid, I would say the same thing, but Metroid save points I feel are a lot fewer and farther between than Castlevania.
In some ways, the save system in those two games is more punishing than like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Because if you die, you lose everything you've gotten since you last saved.
Yep. Looking at you, fucking Circle of the Moon. That run from fucking the save points to Hugh to fight him, and then you have Devil, the most powerful enemy in the fucking game, just sitting there waiting to destroy your ass. And I'm like, I hate it. I hate it. Worst one.
Remember, there was a strategy I had devised. I think maybe I was just spamming slide or something.
Yeah, it's
to get
either
past
running,
him.
and then if he tries to attack you, you slide under and keep running. That is the only way to get past him, and you still might get hit. It's like, oh god, I hate this. Difficulty spikes in Curse of the Moon were easily some of the bosses. Easily. Platforming? Bullshit. Dummy easy. Whatever. That's Castlevania. They're always pretty easy. But then, then you get to the bosses, like the twin dragons. Terrible. Hate them. You get to Hugh. Hate him. Terrible. Dracula's a decent fight. He's actually, you know, not a pushover. Still considered one of the worst boss fights in all of Castlevania, actually, because of his second form.
Difficulty, it can just feel bad if you make something really obnoxious to avoid damage, I mean. And I feel like that's the problem with some of those more annoying Castlevania bosses.
Yep. Zephyr is one of those, I will agree.
They don't really promote fun gameplay, you could say.
They punish you too hard for mistakes you've made that they didn't prepare you well enough for. Essentially is what they do.
Or maybe they just want you to get strong enough so that you can tank everything. And that way, during your iframes, just do as much damage as possible instead of trying to avoid things. That's where you got it from.
Maybe. I totally wasn't allowed to do that all the time as a kid in certain Castlevania games. Which does not work in the NES Castlevania games, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah, those didn't have leveling up.
Huh?
Those didn't have leveling up.
Nope. Well, and I think the worst part was that they made the American versions harder. For Castlevania 3 specifically.
It's weird, like, some games they bring to the US and they're just like, easy is now normal, and then the other ones they're like, hard is now normal. It's like, can you make up your mind?
Yeah, it's like, some companies thought that Americans were babies with gaming and like, they gotta be coddled, and then other ones are like, haha, Time to make those bitches suffer. And that's what they did with Castlevania 3. Literally made the damage go up, so when you're at the last level, you can only take 4 hits. While in the Japanese, the damage stayed the same, so you could take like the 6 or 8 hits depending on your character. And it's like, why would you hurt us like this? What did we do to deserve this?
It was the whole atom bomb thing.
I wasn't gonna say it! I wasn't gonna say it!
But would you say the game is less fun because of this difficulty change?
There's a reason I'm dreading going back to Castlevania 3 after La Mulana. But I have to beat it. I have to beat it legitly. I just want to kill the doppelganger and move on with my life. And then I gotta beat Splatterhouse, but yeah. Which also has a difficulty curve, because it doesn't teach you how to do the slide kick. And that is the most powerful attack in the game. So you just either stumble upon it or you look it up. Also, is this woman Jesus?
Apparently.
It's
Does
not that
Symphony
deep.
Knight ever tell you how to use the spells?
Which one?
Does Symphony Knight ever tell you how to use the spells?
You can buy some scrolls for it.
Oh, okay.
From the librarian. Otherwise, I mean, I have most of them memorized, so I just do it that way. Only one you need is Hellfire, thank you.
Hydro Storm!
Hydro Storm! Dude, once I found out that it was so broken, that's all I now use on the Richter fight. Like, what else would you use? What else should you use? Just fucking Hydro Storm his ass, you win. Without
you could
getting
attempt
hit.
to have engaging gameplay.
Shut up.
A fun
All you do-
experience.
All you do is shit on my Castlevania. No, it hurts. It hurts a lot.
Sorry.
Given the opportunity, players will always optimize the fun out of a game.
Yeah. Well, someone's still, I don't know if they're still working on it, but they're doing a mod for Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and they're adding in combo attacks, and I was so happy.
Wow.
Combos. That's all. Castlevania could be so much better if they just add in combo attacks. Just saying. Just saying.
Literally anything but just
Shut up. Let
doing
me have
one
this.
attack and then like a jump attack.
You
Yeah.
jump attack, you land, you attack again, then you backdash, and then you jump and then you attack again.
And do that in every single Castlevania game.
Okay, to be fair, you also do that in La Mulana. I don't want to hear this. La Mulana has the same exact attack scheme as Castlevania. You cannot
It
talk to
sucks.
me.
And it sucks in both games.
It does suck in both games, but at least they have an axe in La Mulana as well, so I'm very happy about that. Doesn't make it any better, though.
Do you think the game wouldn't be worse if it didn't have the axe?
It would be worse if it didn't have the axe, but still.
Oh yeah, the police shoot at you.
Can you
Police
absorb
can
the
do
bullets?
nothing!
They don't. They do nothing to you. It does. You cannot be harmed by conventional weapons.
Because you're the Prince of Earth. What the fuck? Oh, no, faster, no! Also, I like how some of these guys have the Josuke haircut. Makes me happy. Even though I know that's not what it is, but... Missed him.
Let that one person go.
Dead men tell no
Oh.
tales!
You tell the story.
Oh, no. Alright, we still got 25 minutes, but we've had a lot of good discussion, so what else do we got?
Have we actually talked about power creep though? Have we really?
I think we've talked.
Kind of did at the
So
beginning.
much remains unsaid.
Then say
Infinite
it.
parallel
Oh
realities
no,
where
God,
we
we're not
had.
doing the multiverse again.
Okay.
What is what you want to say that is currently unsaid?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah. I don't know. For power creep? I mean, most of my experiences in Castlevania, and I talked about it.
Well, is it good or bad?
In Castlevania, oh, it's terrible. It's fucking trash.
Because So there's often a negative perception of the word power creep,
That's fair.
especially due to the MMO connotation.
For
But
me, oh,
it's not inherently a bad thing, is it?
no. It depends on how it's done and how it correlates with the difficulty curve, in my opinion. Like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, it's kind of difficult at first, but then you get powerful, and then the rest of the game is dog shit easy for the most part. Especially when you have some of those more powerful items that you can use. I mean, me personally, I don't use them for every fight. The main fight I use them for is Galamoth, because Galamoth sucks and he deserves nothing but the most cheesiest way to fight him, because I hate him. But with other parts, like Order of Ecclesia, I would say that power creep makes sense, and it feels good, but it also doesn't make it so, like, the game becomes so easy and brain dead. It still gives you challenges. They just might be a little more easy, not because of your skills, but because you've also gotten a lot better. Not a lot better. Sorry, I just repeated that. You now have the more powerful glyphs and higher magic to deal with it. I thought you were gonna leave her alive.
The thing is, I feel like people have problems with power creep when it doesn't line up with the difficulty curve that the game offers, especially with the MMO interpretation.
That's fair.
Because, it trivializes older content, but it may also... The difficulty of the new content with the new gear could be exactly the same as the difficulty of the old content with the old gear. Now you just have the same amount of content you did before at the difficulty level you're looking for, and then a bunch of not as useful content.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm talking about this, I have in mind Destiny 2, because in that, like, the way you progress, you get doing the endgame content. You have raids that drop items within a certain item level range, and items drop only within a certain range of your level, so you have to play the harder content to get a higher level. And you cannot improve your character from the older content.
Yeah, the way that Destiny levels work is once you've passed, once you've reached the level of the content, if you gain any more levels, it doesn't increase your power relative to that content.
That too. And I mean, I guess it prevents older content from being completely unplayable because you're so overpowered, but it's still easy. And just when you handle levels in that way, it does kind of make the levels feel more arbitrary.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that there's people who want the content to be trivialized, and then there's people who don't want the content to be trivialized.
Yeah. My throat is cracking and dying, so I apologize if I sound like a teenage boy going through puberty here soon.
You finally made it.
Finally made it! I've actually gotten the question if I am a teenage boy before, so it's not too far off.
I'm apparently stupid because I can't find the next level. Like, no, maybe I have to play one of the side levels.
I like how one of the levels is make cancer.
Oh, that one's fun.
Oh, what?
It's called make cancer.
Excuse me, Master. Do you want to repeat that for the class?
What?
Is making cancer fun, Master?
Yeah.
You think making cancer is fun?
I do. Look at all the crabs. You have to collect as many crabs as you can.
Please, Kind King, quick! Please, clip that! Clip that! Please, for the love of God!
What?
Make the yummiest cancer you can.
Make the yummiest crab cancer you can. I do like how they have a lot of crabs in the cancer level. That makes me happy.
Well, that's the whole point.
I know, but
your goal is to
still.
collect the crabs because you're making Cancer, the star.
You're making cancer. God, that's not very nice of you, Master.
You're being mean to me for no reason.
I'm not being mean. It's
You're
not my
making
fault.
cancer.
You said you like making cancer. It is not my fault that you did not choose your words carefully. Yeah, you get on my case when I talk about, sleeping in the certain place in La Mulana.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, sir. You flipped that just to make fun of me. That is a lot of crab. Oh my god. Does this woman not understand she has a crab infestation?
I'm doing her a favor.
Oh, until you suck her up too.
Everyone dies one day.
You don't have to speed it along!
But I'm immortalizing these people in
Did you ask
that,
them? Do they want to be immortalized?
Well, they never said no.
Oh my god!
Oh, jeez, wow.
God, you're full of just takes today. God. So power creep. Besides the fact that he's making cancer.
I'm being bullied.
Tastiest, most powerful cancer he can.
You bully me every time I stream La Mulana. I do not want to hear this.
I'm the only reason you've gotten like anywhere.
This is
in
very
La Mulana.
true, but you still bully me during it.
And you keep asking for him to come back.
I do. Because it's fun. Well, and imagine if we do Rabbi Ribby.
So I guess we're going back to the whole dummy thing.
Actually, does Rabbi Ribby have a power creep? I never played it, so I wouldn't know.
It does have power progression, like you can get upgrades.
Well, I would hope so if it's a Metroidvania.
It actually has some interesting difficulty options where you can choose that boss difficulty is based on the power-ups you've found or based on story progression.
Okay. I think you're...
I'm a little stuck.
Yeah, okay,
You're
there you
just spewing crabs everywhere until you get small enough to get out.
go.
It's unfortunate.
Spewing cancer everywhere.
I don't like this segment of...
Anyways.
Anyway. Oh no!
So that is
Anyways.
an interesting way to do the difficulty ramp.
Yeah, that is.
And it means you can play the game and go places. So you can go places in different order, and then the other areas get harder in Rabbi Ribby, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that adds some replayability options.
And then you have a Eternia Noctis, where it's all apparently bullshit.
Also,
I've just heard it's incredibly difficult with the platforming.
Yeah.
I've heard that too, that the platforming is just a little annoyingly precise, and you have to constantly do semi-pixel perfect jumps everywhere.
They did patch it. I don't know if it's better, but apparently you cannot now play the original bullshit difficult version. Unless you bought it and you never upgraded it.
Yeah. That is the other thing, is like platforming challenges, you usually can't out-level them.
Nope.
You can sometimes get upgrades that trivialize them, but...
When you get the flight in a Castlevania.
Yeah.
Or the Griffin Wing. Platforming prousals go brrr.
Yeah, like Ori and the Will-O-Wisp, when you get the last upgrade, it trivializes a lot of the, I guess not puzzles, activities.
Yeah. Same with the space jump.
Yeah.
Yep. Hollow Knight, you never really have that in Hollow Knight. You never get something that trivializes platforming.
Katamari Damacy actually has a difficulty spike on a side level, because in this level, your goal is to acquire a bear, any bear. However, acquiring any bear will instantly end the level, and your goal is to get the largest bear possible. The problem is that there are many bear adjacent items scattered everywhere, and if you accidentally pick one up because you didn't see it because it's really small and it's on the ground, then you have to restart the level to get the larger bear that you were searching for.
Sounds to me like you just need to get good.
You have to get good.
Yeah.
Good at avoiding bears. That is a
Yeah.
useful life skill.
That is
I
a
can
very good
imagine.
list. Nothing to do with monkeys?
I must hunt down. Do you think there's one more crab somewhere?
Oh, do you need
At
to get 100
99
of them?
crabs. Well, I don't know how many there are. That's the thing. It could be anywhere.
Yeah, it
Look
seems
up
like
the
you've
ramp
gotten
more just in
everything.
case.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh no.
no, there's a bunch up there.
Yeah.
How do you get up there?
I don't. You win this time, crab.
So I guess you can't jump forward.
You can't do the Billy Hatcher egg down slam jump?
74%. Yeah, well, the way you get over things is by jankily rolling forward and hope you go over the ledge instead of ramming into it. So it's a little finicky at times, and it's hard to do.
Nice.
Oh, I love this.
What the fuck is wrong with this kid?
She feels the cosmos. The cancer. Cancer
She
came
feels-
scuttling back.
She feels the cancer.
Gave her cancer.
Oh, no! No! Do Ursa Minor. Or Major, whatever one you have. Oh, there's Star 5.
I'm guessing Ursa Minor is the bear one?
They're both bears. That's why they're
Yeah.
Ursa. Because Ursa is bear. So Ursa Minor and Ursa Major are the big bear and little bear.
Yeah, that's why I assumed that it's
Yeah.
the bear one.
Yeah, one of the bear ones, though. Gemini is the twins. The nerds. Another cousin? What? Who are these people?
I don't know.
They're the cousins.
Can you play as them, or?
That's a good question.
Oh, all the fish.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Alright, we
Oh,
got.
yeah.
Oh, jeez. We got, 10 minutes before I die. So,
As long as you make it to the end of the stream.
hopefully.
Let's see, what else have we got on this list?
Yeah. What list? I couldn't find any
Oh.
good articles.
I'm just looking at the
Oh.
topic suggestions,
Oh, yeah.
and
You know,
Alright,
sometimes you just want to sit back and roll things into a ball.
Jesus. Everyone. I'm so glad we do not have this kind of prince,
just
king
like
of the cosmos.
you're just out on the town, and somebody
Yeah.
comes up and rolls you up into a ball.
Yeah, look at that Josuke haircut. Look at that.
I would like to play Metroidvania where I roll up things into a ball.
Like, say if you're a dung beetle.
Maybe. It doesn't have to be bug themed. It can just be. It can be any ball, really.
Well, I was referencing Yoku's Island Express.
But yeah, but I'm not rolling things into a larger ball in that game. I
Also-
just have a ball.
Oh,
It's different.
you just have a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we could talk about power creep in real life and how Microsoft is hitting a very huge power creep with all the
that's
new
true.
companies they're acquiring right now. They're freaking collecting them all at this point.
Apparently, they still have less than Sony does, though.
Oh, really? Yeah, but now they own Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. And I'm gonna be very
I mean,
sad.
Sony does.
Yeah,
Like, those are both Sony properties.
No, they aren't.
What, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro?
Those were Activision.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. We just assume they're Sony because that's what they originally released on, but they were released on GameCube too. Some of the games.
Oh, I guess published by Activision.
Spyro. Yep. Activision. Oh, Sierra. Konami. What? Excuse me, sir.
So this game seems to cleverly disguise loading screens by that little animation that plays when you get to a certain size. And I guess it renders out smaller things, and it will actually... It can add
that's
in
smart.
some larger things as objects instead of just props.
Less than so. Interesting.
And you do, I think you do grow a little during those animations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Naughty Dog was acquired by Sony.
Naughty Dog for Crash, but
I was gonna say, yeah, there's... in, like, Uncharted 4, you just play some Crash Bandicoot with your
oh yeah,
wife
that's
or
right, because that's
whatever.
also Naughty Dog. So they own Spyro only now?
So Spyro was by Insomniac.
Yep. But then
and
it became
Insomniac has PlayStation Studios as a parent organization.
No, here's Activision Blizzard now owns Crash Bandicoot.
It could be
They were
that
they were the
publisher wound up-
publishers. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on who has the rights to the
So
game.
I wonder if the publishers for both of them had. So Activision had the rights for both of them. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, it just depends who has
Yeah.
the rights.
See, like, I don't care if Elder Scrolls is Xbox, Microsoft exclusive. Don't care, because that's what I play on it. If they make another Spyro game, though, I want it on my PlayStation, because that's the only console I got that I would want to play it on.
Okay, so the intellectual property rights for Spyro was acquired by Activision.
Yeah. Just play my Spyro, please.
Activision is OP.
Well, it will
At least
take a
it was.
year for them to
But
merge.
the thing is, they will have the IP, but they won't have the developers. Yeah, and Activision also owns Crash Bandicoot.
That depends on if they're willing to collab, because I'm hoping Microsoft has a lot healthier of a workplace mentality than a certain someone did. But we'll
So
see.
if they do collaborate, then it will not matter that they
if it's an
own it
exclusive,
because
yeah.
there's no way that they're going to collaborate and have it be exclusive.
Yeah. They could do timed exclusive, though.
I don't see that.
Also, now that Microsoft partner with Nintendo, they might just keep it off of Sony. If they can.
Right, but the scenario we're talking about here is the Sony-owned developers working with Microsoft
Is Toys
to
for
develop
Bob
the game.
Sony owned?
Sorry, what?
Toys for Bob, the people who did the remake for Spyro.
I don't know.
Because I can see them doing another game.
Like doing a new game
Yeah.
or doing another
Because
remake.
didn't they do Crash 4? Oh no, they did. Oh, they did Skylanders. Oh no. I forgot about that. And they did Star Troll. Never mind. Yeah, Activision acquired it. Because they did, Oh shit, never mind. The founders left. But no, they did, Crash 4. I believe. Yeah. Yeah, Toys for Bob did Crash 4. So, I don't know if they'll do a Spyro 4, which makes me sad. Because we deserve a Spyro 4. That's
Do
not...
we, though?
That's not Elijah Wood fucking Spyro? Yes, we do. We absolutely do. Roommate and I were playing that like a couple years ago. And we're sitting there, and we're listening to the voice, and we're looking at the face, and we're like, is that Spyro? Did they Elijah Wood Spyro's face? Is that Elijah Wood? Yeah, it was Elijah Wood.
Interesting.
Is he gonna do it? Yes, he is. Yeah, no. Dawn of the Dragon was dark times in Spyro history.
Nowadays, though, instead of having dead franchises, just instead of putting out lots of low quality sequels, and that's where the low quality is. The low quality is in the big releases. Hope that made sense.
It has to go somewhere.
Yeah, like back, PS2 era, there's so much shovelware.
Yeah.
And maybe not shovelware, but certainly games that are not the highest of quality. But now the big budget games are the ones without the quality.
Yeah, and the shovelware is usually pretty good.
Sick
I think
burn.
people figured out that
video
movie
game
games
industry.
are generally not very good, so they stopped trying to put the shovelware there and put it somewhere that has a little bit more goodwill, I guess, with gamers. So they like shovelware the sequels.
We got about a minute left too, so. Final thoughts? Comments, questions, concerns?
I mean, just
Donations?
concerns.
What game should I play a month from now the next time I stream a game?
You want us to make a month or a decision for you an entire month out?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
still have to pick the game I'm gonna play next.
And so do I.
Yeah! we got our own games to worry about.
Oh, I see.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. How about that?
Uh-huh.
We gotta save the good ones for ourselves.
Exactly. Depending on what topics we choose. But yeah. Have a nice night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.